Hello, welcome to Taters Incorporated's new presentation meeting for our future company success through new base ideas. I'd like to thank you all for coming for this meeting. My name is Joseph Blanchet. Okay. When looking at new success and for better and innovative ideas for helping our company grow, one might look for products and services normally. But while our products and services are doing very well in the market today, we might actually need to look in other areas to grow and become better at what we do. And one thing we can do is look internally. Now, this presentation will discuss some new cost-effective ways in saving money, and especially for cutting down some budgets, for our operating systems and keeping employees that keep our employees with an annual upkeep low and employee morale high. Now, some price reasons of why we need to change from our current system to Windows is that Microsoft Windows 10 is a costly upgrade compared to certain other operating systems, as each license costs between $50 and $100 generally. Now, software, even though Windows has software and tools for free, most of the programs will cost more than $200 and will need to be paid annually. And also, Windows 10 has had issues in the past with the bug that causes systems to go into an infinite boot. This can be a problem as it disrupts our distribution and making of our potato snacks. Now, some security reasons and reliability. So security, when compared to operating systems such as Linux, Windows is more prone to viruses, and this is generally because it's the most used operating system in the world. Now, this could have a financial sense that there's less of a chance of hacks and common networks, so less money that we're having to spend on those things. Now, Windows needs to be rebooted periodically, so there could be a higher possibility of a hang-up or of a failure of the system. And there have been viruses in the past that have cause things just like the infinite boot bug. Now, for resource allocation, Windows 10 has gotten better, but it has been known to be extremely RAM heavy. This has gotten better in recent updates, but it could also be good to change over to Linux. So when looking at different operating systems in Linux, we came across one called Ubuntu. And while Ubuntu is a solid OS which comes with many bells and whistles that our company doesn't really need in its work environment, the platform itself is very solid, and there are too many variables to be considered for our IT department and administration to warrant using it for our employees. So we found something a little different. Now, what we found was called Elementary OS. Elementary OS is a light Linux distribution desktop based off of Ubuntu, so it's a very solid base. Now, this particular OS does not have all the bells and whistles that Ubuntu does. It comes with very few programs. So our IT department and administration department can actually build it up from the top to the bottom. And this also makes it has a Mac-like styling. So it's very similar look and style to a Mac that you would see normally. It's also very good with our older equipment and older desktops that we can use this on. Now, the production value for Elementary OS, and due to it being a lighter desktop version, it doesn't have a large amount of programs pre-installed. So some of these programs won't clash heads, and they actually mesh a little bit better if there's less of them. So they can install everything that we need personally. But this will also have the effect of having employees use only the programs that they need, and not having many distractions or temptations. Some of the administrative appeal for Elementary OS is that while it is a simple operating system, it keeps the operations easy, so there's needed programs are on the computer for the company uses. Now, this prevents problems between programs from occurring, and as well as many appeals as why employees are using certain other programs instead of doing some of their work. This keeps all the employees on task while keeping the aesthetic of a very high quality operating system. Now, for some of the training needs of it, it's a very bare operating system, but it's very easy to use. Many of the needs of training won't be needed as it behaves and looks like a Mac, but it's based off of Ubuntu, a very solid base. Now, it doesn't have some of the programs and features. The main training will need to be in the software that's used as a substitute, or almost the exact same as the Windows comparison. Now, some of the programs that we might need for our company, for Taters Inc., is LibreOffice Suite, also our word processor writer, which is very similar to Microsoft Word. Then we have our Calc, which is for spreadsheets, Inspire, which is for presentations, then Draw, which is for our pie charts, bar graphs, and mainly for our R&D department. And then we have our Base, which is our database part of it. This is very useful. Also with our math and formula editor, this can be used in R&D. Then we have our mainly overlooked calendar app that we got. So this is, while it is overlooked, is very useful for employees as it keeps everything in line with presentation dues, project dates, and meetings. This is a very useful tool that our company needs. Then we have our screenshots. Screenshots are quite an overlooked portion of things. So you can actually screenshot certain pieces of data and keep it and then put it into meeting notes so you don't have to include the entire report. This is very useful in keeping things separate and just bringing it up on the fly. Then we have PuTTY, which is our SSH client. This is mainly for our IT and administration department. This will allow us to access our servers as well as other information and get onto other company desktops if we need to. Then we have GNU Cache. This acts much like QuickBooks and we'll be able to keep our financial administrative records very easily. This also has the effect of having our employee records kept. Now for the ease of use, Elementary OS, when using it, features much like a Mac and has a great UI. So the docking bar that's at the bottom is used that puts the needed apps that are loaded for the operating system for each employee for the department. It's very easy as it keeps everything right where you need it. And it's an extremely polished system that's easy to use by keeping everything simple. Now the average user is not that tech savvy and will only need what is required to work. Developers of the OS have also spent a large portion of their time making sure the system itself is very pretty and easy on the eyes. And some of the pros and cons. While it is a lightweight operating system, it has extra components that aren't needed for our company's everyday use, so we can build it from the way up. It's very fast when compared to Ubuntu and Windows, so because there's less amount of programs. Now it is very stable due to being based off of Ubuntu and the programming being very similar. Now it's great for everyday use with a styled UI that makes it look like a Mac. And the less problems are needed with applications being installed as the IT department and the administrative department, have been already installed. And it's very user-friendly with the layout. Now, some of the cons that come with it. It doesn't come with our needed applications, so they'll have to be installed. Now, it doesn't have every bell and whistle of Ubuntu, which is true. It's a very bare-bones operating system. It's also not a major distribution, so it's not as trusted of a source, but I believe it is a very reliable and trustworthy source. Now, some of the cost. Elementary OS is actually free. It's free and doesn't require licensing payment or upgrades. The programs available on Linux are actually generally free, or at least you can find an alternative to the program that you need. And this keeps our annual income budget, our annual payment budget, lower than normal. So we can actually focus on having everything towards research and development or towards investments for the company. Now we have some reviews for Elementary OS, like the Network World's Brian Lunduk and Swapnil's Bhatia's article. And certain things they've said is very polished and the performance was excellent. Usability was also top-notch. They have also compared this as a very high-quality operating system that has been bare-bones. It's very good when considered to be a desktop computer operating system. Okay, and then we actually have the operating system up and running for everybody, so I can show you. So first up, we have our multitask view. Just like in many systems, this actually allows you to have different screens. So you can have one on another and just swap between them just in case. Then we have our File Explorer. We've actually loaded in some departments for you. So we have our administration and R&D, sales, IT, but if you go in, we have everything needed. This is our file system. It's very useful, very easy to see. Then as we go through, each of the things actually process. It's a very easy on the eyes UI, and we can use it anywhere. Then we have Epiphany, which is our main web browser. Then we have our Office suite, LibreOffice, Draw, Calc, Impress, Writer, Math, and those will be used on a daily basis, mainly by any of our facilities and departments. They'll be using them at any point in time in their day. Then we have GNU Cache. This is especially useful for our financial and administrative department, as it will keep everything all the records that we need. So let's do a new file. So we can actually set up new accounts using this. It's much like QuickBooks. It's very similar to use. Many of the things are actually very similar. So we can go for business, employee, new employees, set up new employees, and all the information that we might need to keep accurate records. Then we can have reports of budgets, businesses reports, customer reports, even invoices. This is very easy and very useful tool and application for when we need to keep everything nice and orderly. Then we have Screenshot. Screenshot is a very effective tool in keeping data where we need it in terms of showing only a portion of the screen, such as if I just wanted to do the toolbar. Then I can just show the toolbar. If I wanted to show exactly what I needed to in a presentation or a meeting, I can put that into a document and not have to show all everything else on the screen. Or I can actually do a full screen screenshot, of course. But it's a very useful tool. Then we have our Ocular, which is our PDF viewer, our calendar, which actually we have some things loaded in, along with our corporate conference, which is of course today. Then we have our meetings set for next Wednesday, where we'll decide on everything. All of these are very easy to use. If, let's say, I wanted to set something for Thursday, I can actually do that, set what I want to do. So I can set it for like IT or presentation or meetings, or even set it for a custom thing. Let's say test. Let's say I wanted to set an event called test. I wanted it to be all day. It's not the location. Test. Then I can say done. There's test. This will be very useful in keeping employees up to date with everything that's needed, and can be very useful to your company's needs. And finally, we have our Gmail Notify. Gmail Notify is very useful in that it keeps everything very easy with corporate emails and new reports that are coming in for our employees. We can use that to keep up to date with everything. And then we have Putty. Putty is very easy. We can get into several of our servers. Let's say 0.0 as an example. We get into several servers, and anytime we use it for the IT department or our administration department that needs to get into a system, we can do that, as well as we have different features of Putty, such as logging and different connections, Telnet, SSH. It's a very useful tool for our IT department. And that's it. I'd like to thank you all for watching our presentation for Taters Incorporated and our new operating system that hopefully we'll be able to decide on and roll out. Thank you.